Welcome to the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show, created and hosted by Scott Knudsen, to explore the crossroads of horses and business. Now here's your host, Scott Knudsen.
Hi, and welcome to the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. I'm your host, Scott Knudsen. Thank you for joining us today. Whether you're watching our podcast on one of our many platforms or listening to us on the radio out in California on KCAA, our NBC affiliate, we want to thank you. Today we have a very special show, and I've been looking forward to it all week. Dr. Harry Anderson, a PhD. He is the founder of Total Feeds. Dr. Anderson, thank you so much for being on the show.
I'm glad I'm here, and I appreciate being invited.
Oh my goodness, I'm just thrilled to death. I really appreciate it. So let's start from the beginning. So did you grow up in agriculture in a rural environment, or did you come from like a city and move over to the agricultural industry?
When you say rural, you hit it. I was born right in the middle of World War II.
Okay.
In a dirt farm in north central North Dakota. And toughest environment in the United States. And I was born in a one-room house out on a farm in North Dakota in 1943.
Oh my goodness.
And it kind of all started from there. But had a really great upbringing in rural America, of course, but it's the finest place in the world to bring up children. And I still am so glad that I was raised there, because I see other people come from other places and we're just a little different. But it was a small farm. It was an old McDonald's farm, if you know what that means.
Really?
We had everything.
I love it.
Chickens, pigs, cows, horses, whatever. But sheep. My first business ownership of livestock was some orphan lambs, and I built. My sister and I had a sister a year older than me. We each got a lamb, and over about a 6 or 7 year period, we ended up with a 35 sheep flock. And,
that's big time.
All cotton.
Oh, that's huge, man. That's big time right there.
Yeah, and so right from the beginning, I've always been around animals until I got into the consulting and that kind of business, and I didn't have any animals anymore. But just in that environment, the farmers made their living by raising different kinds of animals, milking cows, and selling all their produce just to buy groceries. And so I caught that thing in my mind, that they were useful. And then I got interested a little bit later when I was a third grader. My first time I really purchased livestock and tried to make money. My folks didn't know it, but I saved up my pennies, and I went to the post office, and in a small town of 400 people, the post office manager, he made out a money order for me to buy 25 baby chicks. And he sent that money order off, and for $3.85, I got a little box of 25 baby chicks. Well, I didn't give it any more thought. Came home from that school one afternoon and walked in the house, and they said, you know anything about this? And there in the corner were little cheeps. I forgot to mention it.
Oh no!
So that was my first endeavor, and from there I ended up, I would own a milk cow and so on. But at that time in the late 40s, when I was getting up, and 5, 6 years old, just ready to start school, we had the worst winters they'd ever had. We had like 100 inches of snow. And the only way to move around was behind horses. I learned at 5 and 6 years old to drive a pair of perch roans. And literally I could drive them when we were hauling hay in from the field in the wintertime. They would put me on there to drive while they were loading hay. And I never gave it a thought till there was anything out of the ordinary. But when I look back, that was really exciting stuff. And we had draft horses. We had that team of horses around until I was about 10 or 11 years old before we finally let them go. That's when the horses really disappeared out of that whole country. But I never lost that passion for being around animals. And through high school, I didn't do a lot with them animals because I was a super jock, in a class of 14 and a school of 50 students. They had to have me around.
Yeah.
Anybody that could bounce a ball and run straight was an athlete.
Yeah, you're a star.
Yeah. Well, never made it today. So, but went through school and I like to tell people this because usually they get a little surprises that I graduated in the bottom third of a class of 14.
Oh, goodness. So did you try to do that or?
I didn't try to do anything. I just didn't do anything.
I love it.
But going back, they had to pass me through high school because they needed me to play sports.
Hey, it's called leverage.
And then, but then back at that time, I really wasn't sure what I was going to do. I've never had goals. And you'll find that out as we go talk about this. But
right.
I really never had long-term goals. But they had to let me go to college in a land grant college because I graduated in North Dakota. They had to let me into the university, at least try me.
Yeah.
Didn't work. Second year, they asked me to leave.
Did they
and
really?
So I moved out of the liberal school and they let me get into the land grant college, the ag college, which is the best thing that could ever happen to me.
Right.
Because all of a sudden, wow, this could be exciting. This is something I love. So I got a bachelor's degree in animal science and had no idea what I was going to do. I was ready to graduate and had no idea about jobs. I didn't like what I was seeing out there. But one day I was standing in the hallway of the animal science office and a graduate student said, "Hey, do you see that on the bulletin board?" And I said, "See what?" He said, they have a fellowship available at South Dakota State University. I said, "What's a fellowship?" He said, "Well, go read it." And they were offering $3,200 a year for 3 years to get a PhD. Oh. So I said, well, I'll write him a letter. And so I wrote him a letter. And by this time, my grades were up almost straight A because I got married in the process.
That'll do it.
That brought my grades up about 2 notches. but I wrote him a letter, and I thought, I'll never hear from him. They wrote a letter back and said, "When can you come?" So I went to graduate school for 4 years, and at $3,200 a year, I could go to a lot of school.
Absolutely.
And then when I got out of graduate school, I had no idea what to do. See, this is a pattern.
See, yeah, I understand, but you keep going. You just keep going.
Yeah, but I had one of my classmates had gone on ahead of me to the University of Wyoming and was a sheep specialist out there. And he called me and said, "Hey, they've got a job available, extension job." He said, "You should look at it." So lo and behold, they flew me out there. They hired me. So I spent 3 years in Wyoming getting my real education. I got my book learning at South Dakota State. I had a pretty fancy degree. I had a nutrition major, a physiology minor, a chemistry, biochemistry minor, and a pharmacology courses. And I thought, I'm in tall cotton. I can do anything. Well, yeah. They could care less how many that I had, and that was a great humbling experience to get on the ground with real people in the state of Wyoming. Right. And like I tell people, I did get my education there because I was working with real people, and that went fine. But after about 3 years, they were giving me pretty good pay increases, but they don't pay well out there. I don't know how some of them stayed all those years, but uh, I had gotten, I was a swine specialist for them. And there was a producer in Wyoming that didn't hire me, but he got me to testify for him against a big feed company because they'd done some damage to his hogs. And, and so that was my first experience in the court setting. So I testified against this big feed company because they did some things wrong. And sure enough, he won the case and was awarded $100,000 against them. So I said, oh boy, they'll never love me again. A month later, they came and offered me a job.
You must have impressed them.
Well,
or they wanted you from the other side, one of the two.
Yeah, so they came and said, do you want to be a feedlot consultant? And I said, what is a feedlot? They said, well, we'll show you. I said, what is a consultant? Well, we'll teach you that. So I wore checkerboards for a lot of years.
Gotcha. I understand.
I won't tell you which feed company it was, but I wore checkerboards for a lot of years.
Makes sense.
And I became a feedlot consultant in the High Plains country. I'm sure you've been there.
Yes, sir.
With those mega yards. And I ended up, long story short, they wore me out there. They sent me to North Dakota for a small district once, almost wore me out there. They sent me back to Kansas. And that's where we ended a partnership. But everywhere I went for them, they give me a small territory. And within a year or two, it was a huge territory running me ragged. So finally, I decided, if I was my own boss, then I could decide where to go. And so after having been in the sales part of them and then nutrition and back and forth, in 1989, we parted company and I hung out my shingle as a consulting nutritionist. And that's what I've been ever since, is an independent business person. But at one time I was consulting with, probably 750,000 head of cattle in several states out there. And it was good. I was paid well and everything, but it got really boring. And then here's where things fall in your lap. One day, a veterinarian came to me. He's a USDA veterinarian in one of the packing plants. And he said, he had some horses. He said, could you formulate a ration, one formula that would feed every horse in the world? So, that's a tall request if you've been in a feed store lately. One formula for all horses and mules and donkeys. And but my ego was big enough that I got a big ego. I said, yes, I can do that. And so this is the next thing that fell in front of me that I was willing to pick up. And that is that I sat down with a piece of paper one day in the year 2000. And I said, okay, now what does a cell need to survive and grow? Any cell, whether it's a bacteria or cell in my body or whatever it is, they all have the same kind of requirements. So I made a set of nutrients that would grow bacteria. It's a great bacterial grower, but it also feeds our cells. Okay. They need the same thing. So I wrote it down on a piece of paper, and then I added some hay and stuff for horses and cows. It's the same formula today. It hasn't changed in 22 years. Stroke of luck, probably. I think someone was looking over my shoulder and guiding me because I'm not smart enough to do that. I really don't think I am.
Oh, but, my goodness.
But it works. So we're still selling that same exact formula with minor improvement variations along the way, but basically the same formula. And so that's what brought us to this place is people wonder how I got here. And they say, well, how, man, you became so successful so fast. I said, yes, my overnight success took about 35 years or so.
Isn't that something? They don't
Yeah,
understand.
no, no, but I really believe that it's simply my hard work because I'm a workaholic.
Yeah.
I'll work 7 days a week if I can because I just love to work, and having that background, get some basics. This is, I guess, a little advice for an entrepreneur. Get some basic understanding of where you think you might want to go, and then just don't dwell on that. Put your head down, work as hard as you can, and see what happens. See what comes of it.
Right.
And I have, like I said, I have not planned any of this, and here I am. We're sitting here. I've got a company. My wife and I own this company now.
Right.
My two sons work for us, and that's our entire company.
Isn't that amazing?
We are now selling feed in over 40 states, have 1,300 dealers, and there's just the four of us. People say, well, how do you do that? Well, it's a different paradigm. We're not doing it. I've solicited a lot of help, but I don't hire them. I've spent enough time in large corporations to see how wasteful that can become if you're not careful, of hiring middle managers, et cetera, and all kinds of managers. You get too many and they don't have enough to do, but
Right.
you pay them. Now here, I have independent people doing all the work. They buy product, they resell it, they make their own money. They don't work, they don't make any money. And so I
Right.
don't have to worry about them. That's their choice. And
Yeah.
and everybody's happy.
Yeah.
They like
Yeah.
the independence, and so do I.
Scott will be right back with more.
Hi, I'm Scott Knudsen, host of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show, heard on KCAA Fridays, 3 p.m. Pacific. I'd like to talk to you about something I'm very passionate about. Those that know me know I love my coffee. In the morning, afternoon, and even late in the evening, I enjoy a good cup of coffee almost any time of the day. Now, my team at the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show has been working for several months on creating and introducing our own brand of coffee. We wanted to make sure that we got it just right. We don't want to put our name on anything unless we're 100% certain that it's the best product available, and we've finally done it. We have created a wonderful line of coffees, 13 fantastic flavors offered in whole bean, ground, and K-cups, any way you like to brew your coffee. Now, each of our coffees carries our brand, the very same brand that we put on our horses, our trailers, and our chaps. So you know that this is a quality product. And we only use 100% Arabica beans, the very best beans available. Just listen to some of these wonderful blends and flavors. Jamaican Me Crazy, Honduran San Marcos, Chocolate Cherry Amaretto, Breakfast Blend, and my very favorite, Haley's Blend. A coffee so good, we named it after my daughter. You can order these coffees today by going online to javacowboy.com. That's javacowboy.com. And if you order today, you can get an extra 10% off your final purchase just by entering the promo code COWBOY on checkout. Remember, that's promo code COWBOY for an extra 10% off. Just go to javacowboy.com to order your coffee today.
Total Equine.
Total Bull.
Total Canine.
Total Goat.
Total People Plus.
Total Feeds. Unparalleled excellence in nutrition.
I can see the passion that you have, but I think when you give them that autonomy, if you want to make it, you can make it. Then they have that passion and that desire to do the job. And you have so many loyal people. Like I love your Total Equine Tuesdays and some of your other videos. And when they speak about your product, you can just hear the passion.
Yeah, that's the kind of people we end up aligning ourselves with. That's why I don't go out prospecting.
Okay.
I have never walked in a feed store and said, "Will you sell my product?" We've done everything through referrals. When we started the Total Feeds company, well, 2008 is when I really kicked this whole thing off and quit consulting. That's when I got serious. We were selling maybe $500,000 worth of product that year. And so I quit because it looked exciting. And that's when I finally gave up my biggest trailer. And my trailer story is that when I was consulting, I was getting my feed made in a little hay plant in Nebraska, and I'd go there and pick up 2 pallets of feed in my 16-foot bumper pull. And then I'd go down the road and I'd consult and sell a little feed, consult, sell a little feed. And this went on for a couple, 3 years. And then all of a sudden I thought, well, I got to have more feed. So I got myself a rickety old 20-foot gooseneck and that could hold 5 pallets of feed. No, yeah, 5 pallets of feed if I worked, I had it hard enough. And it almost fell apart one every many days. But I did that for a couple of years. And then I said, So I had my special built trailer, triple axle, heavy duty. And I could put 9 pallets in there. I was almost, I could scale just about as much as a semi, well, a half a semi, I mean. And so I thought that's good. But then in 2008, got away from me again. So I said, no more trailers. So we started hiring it down, and we're doing about 40 times that much today. And back to my point about never asking a dealer to sell my feed. I get 8 or 10 inquiries a week, people wanting to be dealers. And so my main job is screening prospects and getting dealers set up through my 40 distributors that are independent distributors that then I turn over to them and they set them up. So I don't have to set them up. They do that. I don't have to service them. They do that. They ship the feed. I don't have to do that. So you ask me what I do.
You talk to people like me. I don't know. Yeah, this great company.
Well, part of I shouldn't say it's all been referral period, but because over the past years, we got up to where we're doing about 30 trade shows a year.
You're all over the place. And it's so great for the industry to see that.
Yeah,
sure.
We were at trade shows almost constantly until COVID hit, and it just came to a halt. And I enjoyed every trade show I ever went to, but the year that COVID hit, we did about 6 or 7 trade shows, and my business went up. That's embarrassing.
So if they didn't see you, sales went up.
That was humbling.
Oh no.
Yeah. So
why? What happened?
Well, what we did, it kind of forced us to change our thought process and our paradigm of what we've been doing. We need to change our ways, because during COVID, suddenly we started really trying to get out over the airwaves, the internet, Facebook, you name it. And so we've hired a young lady part-time. We just hire people part-time. But my son, Corey, is the kind of our marketing guy. And he works with Sadie Lynn, who used to be a cowgirl chick. And now she does some of that for us. I mean, does that work for us. But we learned that we can reach far more people over the internet through Facebook and all of these Snapchat, et cetera, et cetera. I don't even know who all they are, but she does. And that's fine. I don't need to know. So now we're doing more of that kind of marketing, and it's working. We're reaching a new group of people, because you've probably seen that I've done a lot of TV work on RFD, and that's been great. That got me a long ways in the early days. But that isn't working for us now like it did then, because our audience on RFD is getting older every day, and the young people aren't watching TV. So if you think you're going to go out and jump on TV like I did and get a bunch of stuff done, you better be careful. They're not there. The young people, if you don't have it on here, you ain't going to reach it.
Right.
And that's what we've learned, and that's what it taught us. So we're doing stuff that these young people, as they're moving around, can look at their phone and they can get those little tidbits of information on. If they want more, they'll call me. So, but I think my average, like with the Total People Plus, we still advertise that heavily on television, because the average age that we reach out there is somewhere between 55 and 95.
Okay.
Not 20 to 45.
Understand.
And those are the ones we're after.
Right.
We need to get them involved with us, and they are.
Right.
So the COVID, it was almost a blessing for us in that aspect, that we had to change our way of thinking, or just keep floundering ahead and watch things kind of deteriorate a little bit.
It's kind of like your life story. It's like your life story, it's just something happens and the opportunity is there, but you seize the opportunity and you go to the next deal.
Right. So now we sit here, and my son Eric takes care of the trucking and that the logistics, and my son Corey, he takes care of the internet, and I get to do the thinking and planning of where are we going to go. I keep trying to think that I should have great plans, but I also keep watching for that thing that's going to fall there.
Oh man.
Thank you for listening to the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. Scott will be right back with more. For more information on Scott Knudsen, the Cowboy Entrepreneur, visit us online at cowboyentrepreneur.com.
Total Equine.
Total Bull.
Total Canine.
Total Goat.
Total People Plus.
Total Feeds. Unparalleled excellence in nutrition.
I'm Scott Knudsen, host of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show, heard on KCAA Fridays, 3 p.m. Pacific. I'd like to talk to you about something I'm very passionate about. Those that know me know I love my coffee. In the morning, afternoon, and even late in the evening, I enjoy a good cup of coffee almost any time of the day. Now, my team at the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show has been working for several months on creating and introducing our own brand of coffee. We wanted to make sure that we got it just right. We don't want to put our name on anything unless we're 100% certain that it's the best product available, and we've finally done it. We have created a wonderful line of coffees, 13 fantastic flavors offered in whole bean, ground, and K-cups, any way you like to brew your coffee. Now, each of our coffees carries our brand, the very same brand that we put on our horses, our trailers, and our chaps. So you know that this is a quality product. And we only use 100% Arabica beans, the very best beans available. Just listen to some of these wonderful blends and flavors. Jamaican Me Crazy, Honduran San Marcos, Chocolate Cherry Amaretto, Breakfast Blend, and my very favorite, Haley's Blend. A coffee so good, we named it after my daughter. You can order these coffees today by going online to javacowboy.com. That's javacowboy.com. And if you order today, you can get an extra 10% off your final purchase just by entering the promo code COWBOY on checkout. Remember, that's promo code COWBOY for an extra 10% off. Just go to javacowboy.com to order your coffee today. I watched one of Corey's videos today, and I've been watching you for a long time. And I love hearing the professionals and the ones that aren't the professionals. You know, your people that might have one horse they enjoy once a week, talking about your feeds and trying. And I love what you say about just good, simple nutrition. And I think that is so important. People can understand
it. Is simple.
You know,
And
I
that's
love
what I
that.
tell
People can understand that. You know, they want to understand what they're putting in their animals, or now with
Right.
Total People with themselves.
Right. But the other thing that I get asked a lot is they say, how did you get these people to work with you? Some of the people like Chris Cox, Craig Cameron, you know, Brett
Bobby
Beach,
Kerr.
and these guys.
Yeah, Bobby Kerr.
Yeah. And I say, simple. Have a good product.
Yeah.
And be nice to them. Treat
Isn't
them
that
like
funny?
family.
It just goes back to having a relationship and putting out a good product. It works.
Right.
I love it.
You know, I know you've done some work with Michael Johnson.
Oh, I love him.
And
Yes.
He always tells people about the time that we first met. He was basically he's always interviewing people, right? And so he said he wanted to know, you know, what makes people buy feed from you rather than somebody else. It's an odd question.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it just popped in my head. I said, people eavesdrop on my conversations. I said, even when I'm on TV, they're eavesdropping on my conversation. I'm not looking at them. They're not looking at me. It's totally non-intimidating. And he told me later, he said, I've asked 150 people that same question. You're the only one that ever said, yeah, what you thought worked. So, wow, that was pretty good. But again, it was common sense. Nothing I really never planned to develop into a salesman.
Right.
That just came from, I guess, my upbringing in the rural community of being able to talk to everybody.
Absolutely.
On their basis.
Right.
And listen. And here's a little tip that I give salespeople. And I have to beat some of them over the head to get them to understand this. If you're talking more than 50% of the time, you're not listening.
Absolutely.
That makes sense?
Absolutely. Yes. How do you know
Does
what
to
they
me,
want to
but
buy? They'll tell you what they want to buy if you just listen to them.
Yes. I've had people that close their own sale. Can I buy it? Where do I get it?
Yeah. I think I want to work for this company. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. They'll tell you what they need and you just fix the need.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. But the I don't know if you want to go in any other direction, but
yeah, sure.
My I talk about my program is simple. Nutrition is simple. I have such simple things like the process that I use to make my product. It maximizes the amount of digestibility an animal can get. The extrusion process, that's a key. And people kind of scoff at my extruded feed, and it's expensive. But the people that use it swear by it.
Right.
And it's so simple. We've been wasting natural resources for a long, long time. To back up just a step, I was in the feedlot business for a lot of years, and in the feedlot business, there's one number in performance that's above all else: feed efficiency. How much performance do I get out of a pound of feed?
Right.
Driven into my skull because I've gotten fired from feed yard because they didn't think the efficiency was good enough. and that'll happen. So when I went over into the other species, I said, there's got to be a way to make feeding more efficient, like horses. Do you ever hear anybody talk about feed efficiency in horses? Or fiber digestibility improvement or anything like that?
No.
They just don't exist. I always ask people, I said, has your feed company representative ever talked to you about improving reducing the hay intake on your horse by 15 to 30%? And they said, no, why would they? I said, well, because it can be done. So when I came here, I carried in my satchel a few little items that I used in the feedlot business that would enhance the efficiency of feed use. And so one of them is the extrusion process. I love to show people the demonstration when I do a little talk, and I love to do lectures, but as you can tell, but I take a quart jar and about two-thirds full of water and drop about 10 or 12 kibbles of my feed in there. And I take another one over here with the same water and I drop some pellets in there. And I say, okay, now you time it. Tell me when they dissolve. And in about 2 minutes, the extruded feed go and just disseminate through the whole bottle. And I said, now, if you throw that in the gut, what do you think is going to be the best digestibility? I don't have to say a word.
Yeah.
They decide. And so that's very important. And the importance goes even further than that. Not just the dissolving itself is important, but I have 3 legs to my program. The second leg, and I tell the whole world this, I'm not telling you any secrets, is the kind of trace minerals I use. There are different kinds and forms of trace minerals chemically. A trace mineral has to be combined with something, or it's going to react. They're all positively charged with 2 positive charges.
Okay.
And we're going to look for something to hook onto, like an oxygen, a sulfate, or carbon monoxide, or whatever it is. And so if you put those in there, they may or may not get into the system in the right form, because when they hit the stomach, they let go of what they're tied to, and they become a free agent. And as they move into the small intestine, which they have to be absorbed in the first 6 or 7 feet, or they're never going to be absorbed. They're going to become fertilizer.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's some people don't understand. And so if you don't have the right form to combine with the right protein molecule when it gets into that small intestine to go through the intestinal wall, it's never going to be absorbed. The ones I use are bound so tight that they don't react in the stomach. They don't react in the first part of the small intestine. They don't react in the intestine at all, but they're so tiny, they go down the tract anywhere and are absorbed in about 95% efficiency.
Isn't that something?
That is why some horses flat improve so much so we can't explain, is
Right.
because they were missing those things. And then the third thing is something I worked with 25, 30 years ago that people still are skeptical of, and that's the effect of seaweed. Everything I do, including Total People, have seaweed in them because it increases vasodilation,
Really?
more blood flow. It slows up the growth and controls the growth of bad bacteria in the hindgut. My hindgut, horses, cecum or colon, and if you control the E. coli's and salmonellas and those bad guys, the pH goes up a little bit, the fiber digestibility goes up, and it's scientifically documented that you can increase that fiber digestion by at least 17% with that.
Oh my goodness.
And so that's why you put my program in bulls, my Total Bull program, their hay intake will go down by 1/3.
That's a big number. That's a huge number.
You put Total Equine in horses, and they will go down at least 15%, sometimes up to 30%, depending on the hay quality. And that's a very low feeding rate.
Well, that's a value per dollar spend right there.
Right. So that's what I am so proud of, is the ability to do that for customers. If for nothing else, if I could just hear those stories every day, I'd be happy camper, and you wouldn't have to pay me a dime. You know, that's just so gratifying.
Yeah.
So that, through every product I have, which every product I have has the same basic micro package in it, including humans. Everyone's the same.
Isn't that
No
something?
change.
No change.
And so every species, we see those same kinds of effects. And that's the other thing that I'm excited about. You can take Total Equine and feed it to rabbits. They do great on it.
Really?
Feed it to elephants. There are some elephants on it. There were some elephants. I don't know if they still are in Fredericksburg.
Yeah, they're actually like 3 miles from me.
Yeah, they came out of California and they called
Yes,
me
sir.
trying to find some Total Equine on the way out here. And so I found them a dealer. They were going through Arizona, and I don't know if they're still feeding them, but they said, "Boy, the elephants do great on it." You know, and you can feed it to cattle, you can feed it to goats, you can feed it to everything except sheep. It's got too much copper.
I see.
But it's the most versatile formula I've ever made in my life. And that to me is so much fun.
Did you ever think when, I think your son said this on his video, you would climb up the draft horse wagon back when you were like 8 or 9 years old to now doing what you do to feeding so many animals across the country and helping so many people? What a journey.
Yeah, I can't tell you how exciting it is.
It's got to be fun.
And that's why I get up every day and work and wait for this to ring. Somebody's going to tell me a story.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So, okay, so what's a funny question you've received? Just somebody just like, is there anything like unique or funny?
Well, a lot of them aren't so funny. I mean, they shouldn't be funny, but people ask me kind of, I had a call the other day that it was unique. It had nothing to have to do with the feed, but I had a gentleman call me and say, your bags are waterproof, aren't they? I said, uh-oh. And I said, why? I said, the bag itself is waterproof, but the ends, I said, aren't. So you have to be careful of getting near water. Water can kind of seep in the end if you get it too much. He said, well, said I had my buddy buy me 10 bags of horse feed and going to bring it to me. And he threw it in the back of his truck. And he, without thinking, went through a car wash.
Oh, it's triple clean. Oh no.
So I said, he wouldn't have had to wash it for you.
Oh, that's terrible.
One of the oddest ones I've had.
Oh no. That's terrible. So I know the feed hadn't really changed, but have the bags changed besides being waterproofed on the side? Did you change the bag?
No.
The wording?
We started out, well, in the year 2000, we were using a plain white bag.
Plain white.
And until I think 2012, I sold everything in a plain white bag. And finally got figured out, if you put a stack of that plain white bag in a feed store, and people are walking up and down the aisle and say, "Oh, these beautiful bags," why would they stop and look at that dumb white bag? So Corey designed the bags for us, and so each species has its own color, and they come in different colors. Like if you look at Total Equine is this purple color. LNS, I mean, that's kind of more brown to you
Right.
as a man. This is a purple, right?
Purple. Yes, sir.
Corey, I said, why purple? He said, that's for the barrel racers.
Love it.
And, but each one has their own color identification. And so it just made us more professional, I guess. I don't know if that particular thing made any more sales, but
It does. I think it does. I think they can relate to the color. It keeps it simple, and your numbers on there too, isn't it?
yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, my picture and numbers on it. that's what blows people away too.
It really does. It really
Yeah.
does.
They'll call and I'll say, Total Feeds, this is Harry speaking. Is this Dr. Anderson? Yeah, who'd you expect? Well, not you. I was waiting to talk to a machine. I said, there's only one phone in the company. Right here.
Isn't that? I love that.
If you call Total Feeds, it's going to ring right here.
And it's on every bag. But once again, it goes back to sale. It's a relationship business, and you stand behind what you do, and it means everything.
That's right. If there's a complaint, I want to hear them, and they're not going to get a salesperson that will have to shovel it up the ladder and up the ladder and up the ladder to get any resolve. I can make a decision on handling those, within 30 seconds. And we usually do. It's an either or deal.
Right. Yeah, right. Absolutely. Well, you get to say the yes or the no. So
yeah. My committee meetings last very short.
Absolutely. So what's next for Total Feeds?
I'm not sure, but the way this has progressed, I started with one product, and then the bull people wanted a product, so I made one for them. And then the goat people wanted a product, and we decided, all of these a lot of these cowboys and barrel racers stuff, they carry a dog with them. Whoa, Total Canine came along, and then hey, if we don't keep the rider healthy and happy, why, they're probably not going to do too well, even though they have a great animal under them. So guess what came along next?
There you go.
The Total People Plus, to help them stay on the road better. And they do. The ones that'll use it swear by it, that it helps them with more stamina and energy, just like their animals. They say, well, what will I do for me? And I said, what does it do for your horse? Well, I don't know. I said, it's going to do the same thing for you.
It's the only company I know of where if it works for your horse, you can try it.
Yeah, that's right. Because we've had people eating horse feed. They thought, oh yeah, they'll munch on it like popcorn. Nothing wrong with that. I say you don't have to have this if you'll eat about a half a pound of horse feed a day.
Buy the pills. It's just better.
Yeah,
I love it. I love your logo on your shirt.
Well, Corey found that is an ancient Norwegian logo, that emblem that stands for wealth through hard work and livestock.
It sums it up, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I love that.
Covered it. So, and we get a lot of comments about why we're running somebody that said, "Oh yeah, I know what that is."
Really? Oh,
yes, we've had people at trade shows say, "Oh yeah, I know what that is," but they're usually Norwegian in the background.
Makes sense. Oh my goodness. Well, man, I've had, sir.
No, but that is our background. We and by the way, my partner Margaret, that owns the company with me, we grew up on neighboring farms, and so we've known each other for about 77 or 78 years now, and we've been married 58 years this year, and we're planning to go a lot further as far as working.
Isn't that
I've got
awesome?
my retirement party tentatively scheduled for August 21st, 2043.
I love it. You might have to extend it a little bit.
Birthday.
I love that. Oh, how fun is that? You working with your partner like that, your wife and just your kids, and just making a difference.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We a lot of people envy us for that, and that's something that wasn't planned either. They didn't come on board till one was on each coast, and they had jobs and doing fine, and then I said, help, and they came running.
So you built it and they came.
Yeah, that's right. There you go. I hadn't thought about it that way. That's good.
Yeah, your next bag right there.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, Dr. Anderson, thank you so much for being on the show today. It's been such a pleasure. Thank you for what you do for the industry too. Your whole family. It's really making a difference.
Well, we're proud to do that, and we're glad that people out there appreciate it, because that's the most gratifying thing we can get.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you very much for being on the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show.
You bet. If they want to reach me, it's on the bag, or they can call me direct at 620-272-1065, or Harry at totalfeeds.com.
Love it. I love it. And the website is great, but I love the YouTube videos. YouTube Total Feeds. Yeah. It's so great.
Yeah,
so
go to
great.
Anybody wants to learn about our programs, as you well know, can learn everything there is about it on our YouTube. We have over 500 of them now.
Oh, there is so. I was going to close the show, but I'm glad we're still talking, because, like you said earlier, I watch them or listen to them at the barn. I did a couple today, and then I listened to you and Bobby Kerr talk about the total people. But driving down the road, you can just listen and be entertained and learn something about your horse or whatever lifestyle. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you to all the great sponsors of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. If you or your business is interested in being a sponsor of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show, please call our office at 830-992-1786 or visit our website, cowboyentrepreneur.com.
Hi, I'm Scott Knudsen, host of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show, heard on KCAA Fridays, 3 p.m. Pacific. I'd like to talk to you about something I'm very passionate about. Those that know me know I love my coffee. In the morning, afternoon, and even late in the evening, I enjoy a good cup of coffee almost any time of the day. Now, my team at the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show has been working for several months on creating and introducing our own brand of coffee. We wanted to make sure that we got it just right. We don't want to put our name on anything unless we're 100% certain that it's the best product available, and we've finally done it. We have created a wonderful line of coffees, 13 fantastic flavors offered in whole bean, ground, and K-cups. Any way you like to brew your coffee. Now, each of our coffees carries our brand, the very same brand that we put on our horses, our trailers, and our chaps. So you know that this is a quality product. And we only use 100% Arabica beans, the very best beans available. Just listen to some of these wonderful blends and flavors. Jamaican Me Crazy, Honduran San Marcos, Chocolate Cherry Amaretto, Breakfast Blend, and my very favorite, Haley's Blend. A coffee so good, we named it after my daughter. You can order these coffees today by going online to javacowboy.com. That's javacowboy.com. And if you order today, you can get an extra 10% off your final purchase just by entering the promo code COWBOY on checkout. Remember, that's promo code COWBOY for an extra 10% off. Just go to javacowboy.com to order your coffee today.
We've all heard jokes that begin with a rabbi, a priest, and a minister walk into a bar. Well, a rabbi, a minister, and a deacon actually walk into the KCAA studios every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. to host the radio program Religion on the Line. And that's no joke. Together, they offer a mixture of humor and serious conversation about things that really matter in life and how to make our lives happier and more fulfilling. They compare religious doctrine and learn from each other while bringing a unique perspective of religion to the KCAA audience. Listen every Sunday morning from 7 to 8 a.m. for Religion on the Line, the intersection of humanity and divinity, right here on KCAA Radio, the station that leaves no listeners behind.
What does the WeatherBug app tell you?
My commute will be a doozy today.
Pack my allergy meds.
Lightning. Pick up a pizza, not a tennis racket.
With more free map layers than any other weather app, WeatherBug tells you more of what you need to know to prepare you for the unpredictable. Discover why over 10 million users choose WeatherBug.
Maybe it's a commute to the couch day.
Download the WeatherBug app today for free.
Hi, it's Dr. Jamie Turndorf, host of Ask Dr. Love, the #1 relationship advice show in America, brought to you by Membrace Life, the #1 vaginal moisture supplement. If you're scared to stick your toe back in the dating pool, or your relationships are rocky, or your sex life is sagging, have no fear. Dr. Love is here. I'm a #1 best-selling author with 40 years in the love trenches. Tune in to Ask Dr. Love Tuesdays, 7 to 8 a.m., and tune up all your relationships.
This is Joe Lyons. Ontario International Airport would like to now honor the memory of those who have made the great sacrifice for our country on this Memorial Day.
On Memorial Day 2022, we remember Army First Lieutenant Robert L. Howard, who served his country above and beyond the call of duty. On a rescue mission in Vietnam, then Sergeant First Class Howard and his men were attacked by a large enemy force. An enemy grenade exploded nearby, and Howard was wounded. When he saw his platoon leader also seriously wounded and exposed to fire, Howard crawled through a hail of bullets to drag his wounded leader to safety.